I'm telling you, I literally just ran up here. Anyway, I'm so happy to be here tonight. It's so funny, actually. A couple of years ago, I was asked to moderate with the cast of Unreal here at the SAG Foundation. And I couldn't do it because I was on a plane to Mexico to go to Bachelor in Paradise. If that's not like art imitating life or like I don't know what is, and I felt so weird about it, like being on this plane to Bachelor in Paradise, and I'm like, I could have been moderating Unreal right now, like what's going on? So anyway, I'm so happy that it worked out now. I was not in Mexico, I was just downtown, which kind of felt like going to Mexico, so anyway, I made it now, and I heard we have water. Good, we have water, because I'm out of breath. Okay, so let me bring up, you just watched her episode that she directed. She's one of my favorite people. Please welcome the Emmy-nominated and Critics' Choice winner, Constance Zimmer. Woo! Did I give you a hug in there? I don't even remember.
You did give me a hug.
I did? God, Jesus. Okay.
I feel like I'm always here. This place.
Well, you know what's so funny? I'm like, who do you pay? Because every time in the last, I guess, 2 weeks since I found out I was going to be moderating with you, as soon as someone says, who are you moderating with? And I say, Constance Zimmer. And they're like, I love her. And I mean, this, you have to understand, usually when I say to someone I'm moderating with someone, it's like, I love the show, or it's so great. Let me know how it goes. But no, with you must know everybody in this town, because they're like, I just love her. And I'm like,
No, I've just been very nice my whole career. I feel like that's how we should all be, right?
No, but you.
But
really
thank you.
have.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
You really have. What an episode that you just got to direct. How awesome was that? I've always wanted to know, do you get your pick of an episode to direct? How does that come about? Is it like a lottery system? Like, we're going to give you this one to do.
No, you don't get to pick. And by the way, I don't even know. Well, first of all, because a lot of times the scripts actually aren't written. For me, this one in particular was about when I was available, because I fly back and forth from Vancouver to LA every weekend to be with my kid and my family. And so there's always like, I have to be in LA for the Science Expo on Friday, so I can't work on Friday. So I have all these little dates that I have to be home. So they were nice enough to kind of craft it around when I could actually be there and I didn't have to be back in LA, because when you are directing, you can't be like, oh, sorry, I have to go home to LA for a day. No, you're like in it to win it. And especially because that was my first episode I've ever directed.
Was that really?
Oh, yes.
Well, IMDb Pro has it wrong. They said it was your second.
No, my second one is in season 4.
Got it.
So season 3, that was, you guys saw, that was the first episodic television I'd ever directed. So, yeah.
I feel like I should hand you a medal or something. Here's a water. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. So tell us, was it everything you thought it would be? What surprised you about it? What was fulfilling about it?
Oh, it was everything I expected it to be and more. There were certain days that were incredibly challenging. I had 2 days where I had to shoot 12 pages in one day, right? I love you, writers. But that is based on, obviously, where we had to shoot, how we had to shoot stuff. Those scenes where they're on the dates, where they're looking at all the Instagram pictures and telling stories, we shot like all of that in one day. And so, because it's the same set, and there's so much cross coverage, you have to shoot the show within the show, and then you have to shoot the behind the scenes of the show, and then you have to shoot the behind the scenes of the show. So
they paid you 3 times, I hope.
Yeah, right, no. So there is a lot of that. And so, I had all the actors come in at the top of the day, and we rehearsed all 12 pages in the morning. And because I knew I was going to have to jump around and do certain coverage in certain ways, I wanted everybody to understand what all 12 pages were. So if I then said, all right, guys, come in, now we're going to do the shots. of you guys on the couch when everybody's looking at this, and then we're going to shoot the coverage of everybody behind the scenes. And so it was really the only way we could have done it. And also because a lot of times our real Steadicam guys are shooting the real footage for Everlasting. So it's a little bit of a cheat, right? Because you can see them in the shots when it's behind the scenes. But then their shots have to be clear of any camera or any camera equipment. So yeah, it's a lot, but it's great and it's awesome. And that stuff is something I'll never get to do on any show ever again because of what our show's about. And also being Quinn and Quinn calling the shots on Everlasting and behind the scenes, and then being the director doing the same thing. It was very confusing, but like really fun because I would be in the scene, and if I was directing it, and I'd say, okay, everybody cut. And then nobody would cut because they all thought that it was Quinn saying cut. So they would all stay in character, but then I'd be like, no. Like as Constance, I gave up and I tried to like change my voice when it was Constance saying cut. I don't know. I should have like spoken a different language.
You should have said Constance cut.
That's right. Exactly.
Just that, C squared.
Yeah. And then there was a lot when I was in the scenes, I also always forgot to say cut. So we would just be working and we're like, and then when you run out of lines to say, everybody thought, oh, maybe she's just letting it go and like we're improvising or something. And so everybody would just keep going in the scene, and I'd be sitting there and I'd think, why is nobody saying cut? And there's a lot of like outtakes of me just actually staring into the camera and like acting my ass off, and then all of a sudden realizing nobody's saying cut because I'm supposed to say cut. So then I'd be like, oh, cut. Oh, sorry.
This better be in the season 3, like outtakes or bloopers or deleted scenes or something.
I know. I wish we had blooper reels. I don't know if we do. That would be really good.
Someone needs to get on that.
That's right.
I would love to see that.
That'd be
what
pretty
was the
fun.
most challenging aspect of shooting this episode?
I think for me it was probably like those scenes that I was talking about because I was so nervous. I had so many pages with people sitting. And even the scene between Rachel and what's his nuts? I've already forgotten all their names. The English guy.
Oh, the English guy.
What's his name? Jasper. Thanks, everyone. Sorry, Stacy. One of our creators is here, by the way.
Oh, yay!
Stacy Rockheiser. Anyways, and that scene between the two of them was, about 4 pages of them just sitting. And Stacy can attest to me being like, we got to shorten it. There's a lot of pages for 2 people to just be talking. And so I was really nervous about keeping it interesting and trying to give them new colors and new emotions that we hadn't seen maybe with their characters before in different places, or I don't know, and so I think that for me was the biggest challenge. It's fairly simple to shoot scenes where you're like, oh, they walk from here and they go over here and they have this conversation. But the stuff that's harder to do is when you have like 13 actors in a scene and everybody's sitting and everybody's staring at photos. So a lot of that for me was like, how do I keep this alive? How do I keep it interesting? How do we keep the audience still like, do we care? Do we not care? And so that for me, I think really was the most challenging of the episode, were those kinds of scenes for me.
Once you finished directing this episode, before you started directing in season 4, aside from learning to say cut, what else did you learn, or what else did you tell yourself after this first episode? I'm going to do this next time. I want to maybe do this a little differently, or anything else. Was there anything that you took from the first experience and applied it to the second one?
Definitely, I wanted to be a better actor.
You wait.
No, I'm saying it honestly.
So good.
No, but that's very sweet of you to say. But no, I'm saying it honestly because I think I was really concerned about my first episode I'm directing. It needs to be good. So I didn't really care about the act. Not care, that's the wrong word. It wasn't that I didn't care. I always care. I care too much. That's the problem. So what I had to do is I had to turn off one little valve in my brain that would allow me to say, okay, if you know you got the shot, if you know that it looks, everybody else in it is fantastic, then you know that you're probably pretty okay. I mean, I can tell when it's bad. Yes, I'm not saying that that's what I did, but I allowed myself to not be so stressed out about my performance, and I was more concerned about my directing. And I notice it. I don't know if any of you would notice it, but like I notice little things here and there where I can tell where I'm like, oh, I think I was really worried about the other person in that scene, and that's just little stuff. And I didn't want to do that. So I think for me, season 4, the episode I directed, which is batshit crazy. I mean, Stacey's laughing because she knows I'm right. And when they handed me that episode, I about lost my mind. I really did. Anyways, you'll see it at some point. But I really was like, wanted to make sure that I was taking care of myself as much as I was taking care of everybody else and all the camera crew and everybody. Right. So.
Well, this is why directors usually don't direct back-to-back episodes, because it takes so much out of you, even if you're not acting,
right?
Just to do it all. I was going to ask you this later, but now seems like a good time. Do you know, because we watch your performance and you're so fantastic in everything you do, but really in this role, do you know when you've nailed a scene or no? Do you feel good? Like, do you feel good when you're done with some versus others? No.
No, I mean, I go home at night and I'm like, I could have done that better. I could have done this. Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I look there? Why did I do? Yeah, no. And even when I watch stuff, I'm like, really? I'm not sure about that choice.
Did getting nominated for an Emmy and even winning Critics' Choice Awards, did that help your confidence? No.
No. No. I'm an insecure actress. It's like, that's my job. I'm an insecure person. It's just weird that I have fallen into playing incredibly confident, strong women. Right. I think it's really the funniest thing ever, because I really don't know how that happened.
How do you fake it then? Because I think for a lot of us, we often feel like, gosh, I don't know if we can do this. And then you find a way to do it. But how do you then, I don't even think you fake it because you know what you're doing, but how do you find a way to mask that insecurity?
You mean in general, like in life?
Well, like in acting.
I was just curious. Should we take
Welcome to Therapy 101.
Yes, exactly.
Kick off your shoes.
In acting, I'm the character. And Quinn is not insecure. So when I'm playing Quinn, everything that is Constance is gone. The only thing that's constant is what's like in the eyes and the vulnerability and the insecurity that shows through Quinn. But the writers really have done such an incredible job of how they've written Quinn that
yes.
So there's not much more I have to do. And once I put on the armor, I call her clothes her armor because it really feels like that. I mean, there's certain positions I can't sit in some of those clothes, like a little bit like this top I'm wearing right now. But it really, it does something to you that is, you can't help but sit a certain way or walk a certain way. And I have a very hard time. I can't rehearse.
Really?
As Quinn. I can't. It's the weirdest.
Who do you rehearse as, Rachel?
No. I just don't ever give a full, I can't give a performance in rehearsal as Quinn because it's so not like me that it's very hard for me to pretend. So I can really truthfully only become Quinn when I have no other choice, which is action. And then I go, and then it's there. And it sounds quite cheesy as I don't have any other character that I've ever been like that with. It's just Quinn is like a level of like crazy that I can only tap into when I really don't have any other choice. Because I would second guess everything. I'd be like, wow, that's really mean. And then I wouldn't be able to say it. Or I think that's a little too harsh. And then I wouldn't be able to say it. But I can't do that with her. Like everything that comes out of her mouth, you have to be like, holy shit.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, I've always wanted to ask you, do you have a favorite insult or line that she's ever said? I mean, you've got some great one-liners. So is there anything that you sometimes go back to or you just think or just cracks you up?
I know. I always get this question and I always feel so bad because there are some that are, I mean, and again, kudos to the writers. Sometimes I read them and I'm like, I don't even know what this means. It's so Sarah and Stacey used to talk about how they used to have to create new bad words because we could only have so many shits and so many, what is it? Assholes. We could only have so many assholes and so many shits and so many bad words. So they would need to come up with like a new vocabulary of bad words for Quinn because I just couldn't say enough bad words. Like shit didn't do it anymore. It was like, no, we need something else. But that's not really a bad word. But like, I mean, one of the ones that I just still, it makes me laugh very hard. I'm not going to say it's my favorite, but it is one that makes me laugh. It was when I said to Jay, if you say that one more time, I'm going to staple your dick to your anus. The visual of it is something I'll never, and because Jeffrey, who plays Jay, is one of my dear, dear friends, every time I had to say it to him, I was like, I can't laugh. So again, I would have to go into like major Quinn mode, but there were so many times where I would look at him and I was like, if you say that again, I'd be like, I can't do it. It's just the visual sometimes of my lines where, and I used to say, like, I love when I said this is like polishing a turd. I should think, again, really clever ways to write insults without saying a bad word.
Right.
I mean, dick and anus. I mean, they're body parts. You can say body parts, right? But we learned that very quickly, too.
By the way, can I just tell you, this is, I don't even know if I should admit to this or not, but when I was watching old episodes the other day, and I go and I interview every season the actual Bachelor and Bachelorette contestants, and I asked a question of one of them recently, and then the same question was on your show, and it freaked. I was doing laundry, and I was like, whoa. Like,
what was the question?
They asked, it was something that Rachel was asking as she was producing, like, are you a feminist? And when we asked that of an actual Bachelor contestant, or Bachelorette contestant, because it's the guys on, he didn't know what that meant. So it was just like, oh gosh, but I see this on the show and it's like the weirdest thing because I'm like, whoa, like I literally have to go back.
You feel like someone's in your bathroom, right?
Oh,
like
completely.
Listening to, I know.
It freaked me out.
That happened to me, I think, after our second season of the show. I don't watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette,
right.
And I went to a
watched
viewing
Juan
party.
Pablo season. I
did that before we started shooting,
right.
Because I needed to understand what I was doing. Because I would read the scripts and I would just say, I don't understand what this is. What are these people doing, and why is this so? And I just didn't get it. Yeah. So I did. I watched one season, but then I think it was after we shot the first season. I went to a viewing party. I'd never been to a viewing party. And I went to a viewing party and I was watching the show. And the whole time I was watching the show, I couldn't even, I was like, we did that on our show. Everything that was happening, like the fake hot air balloon ride in the first season when Adam and Anna, it's so hard because her real name's Johanna, so I don't think Anna is. I really care about these people. it's their character names that I forget. I know their real names. Like they did it where it looks like they're going up on a hot air balloon, but they don't really. They're actually on the ground. Like that was happening on this season that I was watching. And then there was like a tantric sex where they were all getting lubed up with oil or something. And we had just done that on our show. And I just thought, what is there? I thought we had a mole maybe. And then did you hear my crazy story about how in season 2 we made Yael? That was her character name.
Right.
Yael, we made her shit herself on national television.
And then Shad on Bachelor in Paradise.
That's
the
right.
Same thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. And like our show airs on Mondays and that show airs on Tuesdays, I think it was, something like that. And everybody was like, oh, that's too, you guys went crazy. That would never happen.
Right.
You know, the critics were like, no, nobody would, you've jumped the shark. You're ridiculous. And then the next night, that was how the show opened. He had shit himself on national television. And all the comments were like, oh, shit. Did the producer do that? Like everybody thought, I wonder if the producers put stuff in his food. Like all of a sudden it became that our show was actually the real show and their show was the fake show.
Well, that's why I was like, wait a minute. I asked that question the other month. Right. Something I've always wanted to ask you, if you were a TV executive in real life, what would be your first order of business?
To have more shows on television starring flawed, complicated women.
I really want to ask you, and it really goes well with the poster here, crossing out the lady and just having boss. I want to ask you about the strong female characters that are all that we talk about, I feel like, lately. You said that playing Dana Gordon on Entourage kind of led itself to playing Quinn on Unreal. But you said you also want to get away from playing the strong woman that doesn't apologize for anything. So before I ask you about the strong, word that's being thrown around a lot, how do you get casting directors and producers to see you in a different light? Because I feel like so many people, I was just talking to Justin Hartley from This Is Us about that, and he was saying, my friend was like, you are Kevin on this show. And he's like, is that what they see me as? Like, that's not who I am. And it's very hard to get people to think of you as someone else. So how difficult is that? And is that something that do you ever get tired of playing these strong female characters in a way?
Well, it is very hard because I was put in a box, and we all get put in boxes no matter what we do in our careers. But I started out in sitcoms and I started out in comedy, and everybody told me I'll never be taken seriously because I was a sitcom actor, was what I was told. And so I made a point of, after having been on my first regular job I had was on a sitcom. And
which one was it?
Good Morning Miami.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yay. Yay, somebody watched it. No.
I remember.
Yeah. But and so what I did right away is I said the next job I do has to be the complete opposite of this job. So I went and I got cast on a drama, but then I was the comedy relief on the drama, and that didn't quite fit because there wasn't really anything funny about people being wrongfully incarcerated. And so I couldn't be in the corner too bad, buddy, And so the comedy kind of went away, and then it just kind of became this more quirky, dramatic character. But then I went on to do dramas and haven't been able to be cast in a comedy again, and it's killing me. It's killing me. And no, I am unbelievably grateful for these strong female roles because there weren't very many of them back in the day. And Dana Gordon at the time was one of the first ones. And being in a very, very male-dominated show, it obviously let a few of us kind of rise up and be noticed for being strong women. And, you know, that was a part, though, that was only 3 episodes when I auditioned for it. They said, yeah, she just comes in, she's an assistant to the studio head, and she, you know, knows Ari and knows Adrian, you know, knows, but it's just 3 episodes. And I thought, okay, well, fine, you know. And then I was on the show for 6 years, and Dana ended up becoming like the head of the studio. So it's like, they're just things that sometimes just happen, and other times I am always called for those strong female characters. And, you know, I made a choice one year that I said, I'm not going to play those characters anymore. I want to be crazy. I want to be kooky. I want to be wacky. I don't want to know how to put my shoes on. Like, I do not want to be, I just want to like disappear and just be crazy. And I just don't want to have any strength whatsoever. And I mean, because I don't know, I feel like we all would like to do that. But I just like, you know, anyways, doesn't really make sense. But, and I didn't work for a year. So then I thought, that didn't work. That was a bad experiment. But it's because I would walk into rooms with executives and they would say to my face, I can't see you as anything less than a strong female. You are a strong female. Like, I can't see you then walk in here and play dumb and pretend that you don't know how to put on your shoes. Like, I don't believe it. And I said, I mean, I'm an actor. It's my job to show you that I can do all these other things. And I don't know. It's just, again, I feel bad. I'm not complaining in any means whatsoever. I'm incredibly grateful, but I think it's a struggle that all actors have. We all get pigeonholed, and I've been very fortunate to be. Now I'm realizing it's an incredibly lucky thing to be pigeonholed in this type of character, because I love these types of characters. I will play these types of characters for the rest of my career. Quinn has really opened up an entirely new audience to me, because she was so above and beyond these characters that I had played. I mean, I was totally terrified and scared to play her. And so, but the reaction from the audience has been, I've never seen anything like it. And so it made me very aware of, like, we need these characters. We need these women. We need these more than ever. And I wasn't so aware of it because I was in it. But for some reason, Quinn and Unreal and the relationship between Rachel and Quinn and all of this has really opened my eyes to what is lacking out there. And we are lacking these women that do not apologize and that are okay with being flawed and complicated and kind of fucked up, you know? We all are. And why should we be afraid to share that? The more we share those stories, the more we relate, and the more we all realize we're not alone. We're not, you know, and so now I take it as a huge honor, and I feel very responsible. And so that is, you know, but you have to go through that. You kind of have to go through the, like, I don't want to anymore, and then go, well, I kind of need to pay my rent. So, but, and then, and then it comes full circle, and then I realize, like, I wouldn't want it any other way.
You know what's so funny, though, is that Quinn is so funny, too. Like, you play the comedic moments so well. Like, yes, there's this, you know, of course, you know, it's the drama and everything, and she yells these insults, and she's, you know, so, you know, strong-willed, but really funny, too, with the delivery. And I think people, maybe these executives, I don't know if they don't see that, but the performance wouldn't be as multi-layered if it is, if you didn't bring that extra bit of comedy and humor to it. Do you feel that way? You're welcome.
Thank you. No, that's a very important part of Quinn. And I don't really know, I mean, Stacy's back there, but I feel like that was a lot of what we wanted, you know, and it kind of found its way through, you know, the way that they write for her and the way that she talks to people. You know, you can't help but laugh at it because it's but it's nice that we're not playing it. We're not playing. They're not jokes. They're just like, oh wow, I can't believe she just said that.
Yeah. Do you like the word strong? Because I wish I had $1 for every pitch I get from a publicist saying, I have this great actor, she plays this strong female role on a show. And it's like, gosh, is that the only adjective we can use to describe someone? And I get why they're saying it. And yes, we want characters that are multifaceted and have all these different layers to them. But it's like, I just want another adjective than strong, because I feel like it's just lazy. Like, let's find more to describe someone. So do you get annoyed now lately with everything is about the strong female character? Do you wish there would be more creative ways to describe her?
Yeah, because I think when you're a strong female, you're so much more than just strong.
Right.
There's so many more layers to what make you that. But yeah, I think it's easy. I think it's visual. You get it. You're like, oh, I got it. You're a strong female. But I think strength has so many different definitions now. I think there is strength in people who come out and speak about things that have happened to them, and they might not be strong on the outside, but they're strong on the inside, and that's what we're not paying as much attention to. Right. I can go and play a character and be strong, and and then when I meet people and everyone's like, okay, first of all, you're not like your character, and I'm always like, thank you, I appreciate that, but not that I'm not proud to represent that. Right. But I think that there is so much more strength in the honesty of women and of men. I'm not leaving all you men out, because we all have to have men. I'm just saying. We do, because you were born whatever. Anyways, that's all. I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean.
I know what you're saying. Yes.
I'm not saying
good men. Yes.
Well, yes, but I mean you need men you're all here because of a man. How about that?
Yeah.
I'll say it that way. That's what I meant to say. But I mean, what is that? What is that adjective? Is it I don't know what it is, because strong is easy. Right. It's just like, oh, she's strong. Oh, yeah. Okay, great.
Well, it's like just how the poster has it, crossing out the lady and just putting boss.
Right.
I not to get all into what the pitches I get, but I even got one for a television network executive the other day saying she's a total girl's boss. And I was thinking, what does that even mean? And you wouldn't write an email saying, he's a total guy's boss. Like, we wouldn't get that. So I just why do we have to call it that? Like, let's just call it what, so I find the conversation, so I understand it, because we do have to shift, to be more equal. But at the same time too, it's like, let's think about some of these words too, Yeah.
I heard this really great quote the other day that said, girls compete with each other, women empower each other. And I thought that was so fascinating and made so much sense. So maybe it's not a strong woman, maybe it's an empowered woman. Yeah. Right?
I love that.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Just on the sly. Yeah. I wish I could give credit to who said that quote, but I don't know who said it.
How does Quinn empower you? Speaking of which.
I'd say probably like a lot of what I was saying before, that through her I've been able to understand how important her role has been. It's like weird. I talk like it's an out of body experience, but being able to have played her for this long, I feel so grateful for it, because every season I've gotten something else out of playing it. And I would definitely say, having just finished our 4th season, that I will leave this show, whatever happens, feeling empowered by what the messages are that we are giving to women, and how you can pretend that you're confident, or you can be confident, and that there is a huge difference, but that confidence comes from the inside, not from the outside. And I think that's where we mess it up a little bit. And so Quinn was all about confidence from the inside. And, what we do as a job, we have to always pretend that we're confident from the outside. And that is where I've always had a hard time. So reversing it is really a lot of like what I've learned, I think, from her.
I love that so much. If you could go back and relive any acting experience outside of Unreal, what show or what role would it be and why? Because it was so wonderful. Like, you loved it so much, you would want to go back and do it again.
I would probably say Seinfeld, weirdly enough. And it was a tiny
that's
part.
Amazing.
I only had 2 lines, but it was, I think, my 3rd job. And I was a huge Seinfeld fan. Like, I was obsessed with the show. I watched every single episode, and that's when there was no streaming. So it was like, I watched that show when it was on so that I would know what happened the next day so I could talk to my friends about it. And this was the 5th to the last episode of the final series.
Jesus.
Final season.
The final season.
The season. The 5th to the last episode of the final season of the series. The show was, I had to add that in. Woo! So it was like everything felt super magical. I mean, I remember when I got the job, they were like, you can't invite any guests to the taping because we have been filled since this season began because everybody wanted to be there for the end.
Right.
And I said, I mean, can I just have somebody on the floor? They don't have to sit in the seats. Like, I was like, I need to share this with somebody. Yeah. And so they did. And I don't even remember who I brought. Isn't that weird?
No, because you're probably just so focused on the role.
Yeah, but it was definitely like I went into Jerry's apartment and I like pulled down all the cereal boxes and I was like, oh my God, there's no cereal in here. And I mean, I went and I walked and it was really like crazy fangirling. Like Jason Alexander walked by and I thought they were all their characters. I mean, and I obviously knew they were actors, but they all came in and I was just like, oh my God, there's George. Like I could not separate myself, it was like, I mean, I couldn't even call them by their actor names. I was like, every time they walk by, I'm like, hi Kramer. Like I just thought, and I was worried I was going to get fired because I was so excited and I was so nervous and I was only in one scene. But I never went into my dressing room. I was just on the stage the whole time. I watched everybody rehearse all their scenes. I never went into my room and I would just sit in the corner and I would just watch. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't, I never could believe that I was there.
Yeah.
And then when I did my scene, it was kind of being co-directed at that time by Jerry Seinfeld and Andy Ackerman, who did a lot of the episodes. And I didn't know that. And my scene was with Elaine, Julie Louis-Dreyfus. I can't. And I remember I was so nervous. And Jerry came up to me and started directing me. And I just was like, oh God, is this what he does with everybody? Or am I really bad? Or what did I do wrong? And, and he's just like, so, I think maybe we should, let's just, let's try it again. And I was like, okay. Everything. So I think, for me, I would relive all of that whole week, like over and over and over again, because it just felt so huge in my world at the time and still to this day.
Yeah. Well, I'm just so fascinated by the fact, because I know a lot of you are actors, when you're auditioning for a show that you are such a big fan of, how do you control those nerves and everything going into a show like Seinfeld? Like, how did you even do that audition knowing what a big fan you were? Like, do you remember it?
I remember auditioning for it for sure. I'm pretty sure I was nervous. I mean, I'm still nervous. right now,
Right
this
now?
very moment.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I was nervous, but you know, I don't know. I mean, I remember I was shocked when I got it because I mean, I had 2 lines. Anyways.
Did you take anything from the set?
No, I should have though.
You should have.
I should have. And we didn't have cell phones back then, so I don't have any pictures. I mean, it's like it didn't even happen, you guys. I could have Instagram storied that to death.
Yes. They should reboot the damn thing.
No, but see, that's the thing, though. I have to say, like, it's the one thing about the phones and the Instagram stories and the social media and all that stuff that I do not like is that there are none of those sacred moments anymore where you got to use your memory. You were in the moment. You were there. You took it all in. You soaked it in. You talked to people. You didn't go and escape and look on your phone and see what everybody else was doing. And you were enjoying every minute of every day. And you were always in the moment. And I was talking to crew members. Like, I mean, that week is more vivid in my brain than like what I did yesterday. And it's because I was so present. And we're not that present anymore. We're everybody is somewhere else, or wishing they were somewhere else, or wishing they were someone else, and it's a little crazy making, I gotta say.
Yeah, but you would have done great at Insta stories back then. Like,
I don't know.
That would have
I'm
been
not very
epic
good at
Insta
it now.
stories.
So
I love that. Is there a role, by the way, that you wish you could do again, just to have a do-over? Like, you wish that you could just like have another take at it?
You know, maybe I would say Claire Sims on Boston Legal, because I was brought on that show to be like the Lucy Liu of Boston Legal, like how Lucy Liu was on. Was she on Private Practice, or there was another David Kelly show that she was on?
Ally McBeal.
McBeal, right? And she was very bitchy, right? Like, wasn't she like the really like hard ass character on Ally McBeal? Are you sure it's Ally McBeal, you guys? I feel like it is. Okay, I trust all of you better than my brain. But so I was supposed to come on and be that, and be like that, like, again, kind of very. They're not bitches. Kristen Ritter's friend said the definition of bitch is being in total control of herself, which is like my favorite interpretation of that word, because it's true. But anyways, she was a very empowered woman. She was a very empowered woman. And I feel like they got afraid because the audience didn't like me at first because I was so mean. And hence why I think I was afraid of Quinn in the beginning. But the feedback from the audience was, oh, she's so mean and she has no heart and she's mean to everybody and she's too honest, and it was all this kind of stuff. And so then David Kelly changed the character, like within 4 or 5 episodes. And then I'm not quite sure what she became, because then there was like no place for her. I didn't know what my voice was. I didn't really know what I was trying to tell people. So it kind of, I feel, just kind of became like a, I don't know, just a nothing, like a character that I don't even remember, and I played her.
Yeah. Do you think that would have happened today, though? I feel like audiences are so much more receptive to a woman that has the empowered woman that has all these layers. Like, I don't feel, I don't think we'd see that.
No,
today.
look, we've revolved an entire show around these women, and people love it.
Yeah.
They want more of it.
When does season 4 premiere, by the way?
I do not know the answer to that question.
Anybody? They've been so talkative before, and now they're staying quiet.
That's right. I don't know. But when I know, you'll know.
What is up next for you this year, now that season 3 has concluded? What is up next for you this year?
I have been finishing my part of Janine Skorsky on House of Cards, which has been very exciting. Thank you. I actually leave tomorrow morning. Yes, we are shooting episode 8. There's only 8 episodes in this final season of House of Cards. So we are now on episode 8. So I've been doing that since February. I've been traveling back and forth to Baltimore, which is very exciting. And then in between that, I've been going to Pittsburgh, and I've been shadowing David Fincher,
Oh my goodness.
which has been very exciting. Yeah, he's doing Mindhunter right now. It's the
Right.
second season of
Yeah.
Mindhunter, but I obviously met David doing House of Cards, and he has kind of become a mentor to me in so many ways. Like, even when I was getting offered or talking about Unreal, I sat down with him and I talked to him and I said, is this what I want to do after doing House of Cards and Newsroom? Because I was like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? And so he's been a big mentor of mine for some years. And when I told him I wanted to start directing, I emailed him and I thought for sure he'd say no because I mean, why would you want me to shadow you? But I just kind of was like, hey, what's up, dude? How you doing? So I'm going to try this directing thing, and I was wondering if I could just come and shadow you. And he wrote me right back, and he said, of course you're directing.
That.
And so, yeah. So he's been amazing. So I've been doing that. I've been going back and forth, watching him in prep, and now going back and watching him on the set. And then I want to kind of follow all the way through to like his editing process and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's
fantastic.
That's what I've been doing. Yeah.
I love that. Before we get to audience questions, by the way, what's one thing you wish every actor would know, or every artist, no matter if you're a producer, director, writer, what's one thing that you think is never spoken about enough that you would want them to know?
I guess I would say don't. I think what's important is stay true to who you are and don't change for other people. And I mean that in general, but as an actor, to make it more specific, is don't try to fit into the box that they want to put you in. Create your own box. And you know, for a long time, I was losing jobs because I had bangs.
We need to form the Bang Club right now.
I'm just telling you.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I will also be the first one to tell you that it was a woman that didn't think that the part that I was up for, that girl would have bangs, and she just really didn't like my bangs. And you know, I actually lost a couple of jobs because I had bangs. And I just thought, well, that's so crazy because I don't look good without bangs. So why would I change because that's not working in your world? Guess what? It's gonna work. I'm gonna make it work in my world because this is how I feel confident and this is how I feel good about myself. So I'm not gonna change for you to make you feel better about your choices. And that is, I think, as an actor, is a huge thing that you have to believe. You are unique. You are one of a kind. You are you because of you and nothing else. And that is going to have its place somewhere. Sometimes it happens to people within a day. Sometimes it happens within 10 years. But if this is what you are going to do, you will do it. But you got to do it on your own terms. Because when you get there and you've gotten there, not by doing it your own way, you're not going to be happy. And it's important that you get to where you want to go and you're so happy to be there, because there's a lot of people that are in these positions that are not happy to be there, and it's not fair. And I think that everybody deserves a shot. Everybody deserves an opportunity. We're living in a time right now where you all should be proud of who you are, quirks and everything. Like, just take it all in stride and go with it.
Damn. I need this on a bumper sticker.
That'd be a real long
bumper sticker. I know, but I love that. I love that advice so much. Okay, let's get to a few audience questions. This is from AJ. I really like this. Hi, AJ. What types of things did you do early in your career that had or has had the biggest impact on your success? That's a great question. You're welcome.
Can I read that?
Sure. Is your last name really Billions? That's amazing. I love that. He puts a dollar sign through the S. That's great.
The biggest impact. First of all, you're very sweet. The impact on my success, because I will tell you, I still don't think I'm successful, but I think that goes with what we do. You know, it's like if I don't have a job tomorrow, I'll be scared that I'll never work again. But I would say a lot of like what I just said, the whole story about it takes a lot to realize that you are enough, and that took me a long time to understand and appreciate. And I actually had an acting teacher say it to me when I was rehearsing for a play. I'll never forget. I was doing a play called Catholic Schoolgirls, and I was playing two characters. I was playing a German nun, and I was playing a Catholic schoolgirl. And we would swap between the two characters throughout the play. And then one of these monologues, I get up on top of this big bleacher, and I do this huge monologue, and it's supposed to be very, very emotional and funny, and it was like all these emotions and like this tiny little thing. And I was rehearsing and doing it, and my acting teacher stopped, and he said, I'm going to say 3 words to you, and then I want you to go backstage, and then I want you to come back up here, and I want you to do that same monologue with those 3 words in your head. I said, okay. And he said, you are enough. I thought, oh, okay. And then I went backstage, and I came back on stage, and it was an entirely different performance. And I've been acting with those 3 words in my head ever since. Thank you.
I feel like we've been to the Church of Constance tonight, and I really like it. Every Thursday night we'll be here. You're all welcome. I know. I love this. Okay, next one from Sean Ashley. Did you have or do you have any horrible audition stories that you remember, and did they change you in any way? If you want to see it, there you go.
Where's Sean? Hi, Sean. Wait, like horrible audition stories. Did I get the job or not get the job?
Either way.
Okay. I mean, one's pretty bad. I mean, well, this is a tough question because 2 of them are bad, but then I actually still got the job. So I don't really know what the lesson was that I learned in that, except they were lessons about, again, just owning your own shit. But yeah, isn't that funny? And then I still got the job, but I shouldn't have. I mean, I say that. Anyway, sometimes I should just stop talking. I'm trying to. I know, but I'm trying to. You know what?
This is why everyone loves you.
Here's an audition story, and I did learn. Okay, but the problem is, do I remember the name of the show? It was a show. It was Brian Ben. Do you guys remember Brian Ben?
Yeah, he was on Private Practice.
No, I was on Mind of a Married Man, actually. First show I've ever been fired from. Anyways, you know what's so funny?
I feel like that's a story.
Sorry, no, because I wasn't really fired. They wanted the show to be more about the men and not the women. The women were upstaging the men, so they got rid of the women. Anyways,
and this is why we need shows like Unreal.
Yes, exactly. No, what was that other show? It was very Was Marlee Matlin on it? Brian Benjamin? Is this one? You guys, what was that show? I know, it's a wrap. I see you over there. Okay. I feel bad that I don't know the name of the show because it's very important. I did learn a very important lesson because I went at the audition, and this is one of those auditions. Brian was not in the room, so don't everybody start saying that Brian did something wrong. But I remember they asked me to take my top off. And they said, because we have this idea that this scene, you're going to be in a bra when you're doing this scene. And I looked at the script and I thought, that's funny. But I'm pretty sure that this scene I won't be in my bra because I don't want to be in my bra because that's not why I'm an actor. And they said, so you're not gonna take your top off and do the audition in your bra. And I said, no, actually I'm not. And they said, okay, then I guess you can go. And I said, great, because I don't need this part if that's how I'm going to get it. And so, yes, I would say that was a horrible audition because it was nothing that my agents were like, oh, and by the way, the part requires you to be in your bra, blah, blah, blah. And but they didn't. And I think for me that was just one of those lessons where it's like we all can and should say no when we don't want to do things. That's nothing is that important in life, especially a job. That's for sure, right?
I don't want you to leave tomorrow. I just want to keep doing this every night with you. No, you're so really. I've been so inspired tonight. So thank you so much. I know we're like way over, so we have to wrap. But to Peter and someone else, I didn't
is it
say
quick?
If the season 3 finale had been the series finale, no, would you have been satisfied with Quinn's storyline? No, because we need more always.
I'd say no, because I still think she had some stories to tell. Yeah. Which you'll get to see in season 4.
Batshit crazy, the one that you did. We're gonna have to discuss how much more batshit crazy can. Jeez.
Oh, I can't even begin to explain it.
And lastly, we also talked about how much fun directing is, but I love this person who didn't write their name said, you are so amazing on this show. And you are so amazing on the show, but you are even more amazing in real life because you have just the biggest heart. So thank you.
Thank you.
This was such a joy.
Thank you.
I adore you. Thank you guys for coming out tonight.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll do it again next Thursday in Baltimore.